welcome to our Brothers in Conversation podcast powered by Jesse and Shondell. Shondell, you are from?
Bed-Stuy, do-or-die, Brooklyn. That little town.
That's a little town. That's nothing like Hawthorne, Nevada. Population 5,000 cats and dogs. Welcome to our Conversation podcast powered by Jesse and
Shondell.
Absolutely. The magic is sitting across from me. I'm not talking about Magic Johnson. I'm talking about Magic Man.
Right on, brother.
And that would be you.
All good.
That'd be the Shondell News to Magic. So this is July 18, 2019, episode 8, and our title is going to be What Everyone Needs to Know About the Raiders Coming to Las Vegas. That's
what about that, huh?
So we're going to talk about that as a feature, but we're also going to talk about some other professional teams, some other professional thoughts and ideas. And Lisa, are we good to go? Anything you want to share with us, or do you want us to keep the magic going?
You guys are good to go.
All right.
All right.
Don't forget about the impossible dynamic.
Oh, you kidding me? That is so
dynamic.
That is so tough.
Forget that.
We won't start out with it, but we had a conversation in the green room before we came on board.
Yes.
And you said something about some circumstances you and your company and a few of your leaders were dealing with.
Yep.
And I won't get into it now, but it led me to say that word, and we're going to come back to that because I know it's going to come up in dialogue. So those of you listening know that impossible dynamic is something that's going to come up, and you want to stay tuned and write it down when I bring it.
Because we all deal with them.
Because we all deal with them.
Yeah.
No, actually, Lisa, we don't all deal with them.
Right. We don't always deal with them.
This is going to give you the tool to deal with them.
I love it. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah. So
I love it.
So let me read this, and I'll toss the ball to you.
Cool.
So it says, where will the Raiders Stadium be in Las Vegas?
Well, the Raiders Stadium is going to be on the Strip, right? It'll be
just across from the Strip.
Just across from the Strip.
It's behind Aria, basically.
Somewhere in there.
Okay.
Mandalay.
Okay.
Across from Mandalay. And you know what? You can see it straight from the freeway, man. It is looking awesome. It's coming together.
You know what's so funny about you say that, and I don't disagree with you, but when Park MGM was building their arena, I thought it didn't look like that much, and then all of a sudden,
it came out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, and then so this Raiders stadium that they're building, you can see the structure, you can see the building is impressive and all that, but when they start putting the final paint on it, it's like, wow, where'd that come from?
It's really gonna be and what's
state of the art,
and what's great about it, which people don't realize, is like for many years, UNLV. The Sam Boyd Stadium is way out off of Russell, right. You know, and so now the Rebels will be playing in the same stadium with the Raiders.
Wow, that's going to be so cool. In fact, I had that in my notes, so I appreciate that. Las Vegas Stadium is the working name for a dome stadium under construction, which we know. So Las Vegas Stadium for right now. So they haven't finalized the name.
Right.
Which is that's amazing. Something so.
Waiting for a sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, is that what you think? Oh,
and
that's
it's being financed. You know, what's interesting is let's tell the story a little bit about the stadium.
Okay.
And you know what's interesting is that when the Raiders approached, they were working with the Sands Corporation to come to Las Vegas, and then something happened. Don't know all the stories.
In the dialogue.
Okay. So it got to the point where there was a possibility that the Raiders would not come to Las Vegas
because of whatever those circumstances were.
Exactly. So now the public had to get involved. And a lot of people in the public don't want to invest in stadiums because in places like St. Louis and even now in Oakland, you know, you run the risk that you'll have this empty stadium if the team leaves, right?
Right.
So there was a lot of controversy over, hey, does the public want a stadium, or do we want to pass and let it go? Well, some of us from the business community with the Urban Chamber said, wow, that would be awesome.
Sure.
But there has to be inclusion. There has to be small business inclusion.
I like it.
The legislature had a special session.
Sure.
And we talked about, you know, having the Raiders come. And Brian Sandoval was our governor at the time.
Okay.
Our current attorney general was our Senate leader.
Okay.
Or Senate minority. And our current Assembly majority was the Assembly minority at the time.
Okay.
And we all talked about how do we make sure that the public is actually involved in the transactions of the stadium. Because usually it's a private deal.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Behind closed doors.
But if we're investing public funds, so here's the amazing thing, Jess, that like today they created out of that whole situation. They created the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board. Right, they created an entity.
Last year, sometime they created this.
A couple of years ago.
Oh wow, okay.
They created this entity where the board members will help make sure that the public is involved in part of it. So today they're having a meeting at the Clark County Government Center with the Las Vegas Stadium Authority Board. You'll have the president of the Raiders. You'll actually have the president. You'll have some representative from who am I thinking about? AEG Live. Okay. AEG is actually now going to be running the operations of the stadium.
I'm not sure who AEG is.
AEG is the live entertainment company that actually was going to be that was promoting the last Michael Jackson tour.
Oh wow!
But they're also partners in the T-Mobile Arena.
Oh, that's big.
So people don't know all that all that's happening in the background. And what came out of it, and I'll shut up. What came out of this whole new law, as far as the stadium, was that small businesses get 15% of the contract on construction.
Wow.
Operations.
Wow.
And maintenance. Wow. So you got construction right now is about $195 million that's going to small businesses alone.
Wow.
Our local small businesses.
That's huge.
The vendors, they'll have a master contract, 15% of that. Now that's even bigger because not only will they get money for
that's usually not shared.
That's usually not shared.
No.
We took that model from Minnesota, Atlanta.
Wow.
They have some great models on that. And then the final part is like maintenance. So essentially a cleaning company can get a contract. A landscaping company,
which is big, because it supports the community too, not just those that are in the inside handshaking game.
You said it perfect.
Yeah,
it's not just the people on the inside who had the handshakes, the whole community. Now, on top of that, there's what's called a community benefits plan, which Ken Evans from the Urban Chamber, he chairs, and they have to be involved in the community from a philanthropic standpoint.
Right.
So they have to get involved in the schools and the community organizations, the youth,
and a lot of times they do anyway at different different spaces where there's professional teams and stuff. Because you see that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's probably more voluntary or maybe PR related versus from the foundation of it.
Yes.
So that's good.
That's really good. All that's happening behind the scenes. So sports teams coming is not just about the fans.
Right.
I'm a fan of all major sports, but it really has an impact, an extreme impact on the community itself.
And having people, and I don't know what the argument is out there. Don't people sometimes feel that having a professional team can sometimes have negative consequences, as in? Our rates go up on buying homes because of that, or what happens to our community because of the kind of people that come to those events, like if they think it's people that are may do destructive things or maybe on the wild side or whatever. Aren't those arguments out there too?
Those are some of the arguments, and those were some of the arguments. Is like, hey, all of a sudden now, especially like, and I understand, you want to preserve the Las Vegas local scene and all of that. But, the concern is people moving in, people starting to move in, starting to change the culture and the vibe of what Las Vegas is. There was also a concern about how does that impact betting. Well, I don't think it impacts betting at all because, people are going to bet whatever way they're going to make.
Well, that's expanded. No, that's expanded because back in the day, say 20 years ago when I was in the industry, it was far more, there were much tighter restraints on betting and what they could bet on and where you can have even having a phone in the sports book. You couldn't even have a phone in the sports book back in the day. Like now they got online betting. So it's really so that's really expanded.
Yeah.
So let's do a little bit of a segue here. So we're talking about professional sports. Give us a little bit of a feeling because you played a level of professional sports too. Give us some insight from the athlete side.
So from the semi-professional side, to give you an idea, like me and I know I played semi-pro football, right? And I had Edwin on here. He played on our team. He was a linebacker. I was a defensive back. But all the guys from like UNLV, Tony Gladney, Steph, what was it? Steve Stallworth.
Okay, yeah.
They all played at UNLV. those guys, when they either sought a pro career or they sought some sort of a job. What's interesting is we were part of a network where all of these guys were trying to get in the league, because the NFL back in the 90s was not as big as it is now.
Oh, right,
I'm
sure.
Different
I'm
teams.
sure.
It was very tight. So we had arena football coming online and the Canadian Football League.
That's right.
So that was a place where people can go. What pro sports does for the town now is those young people who are coming up, and they get to see those people. They get to see them in their community.
Right.
They get to see them like they see doctors, lawyers, etc.
Sure.
You couldn't get that before in Vegas.
Right.
In fact,
so
I got a plug. One of the guys, local,
okay.
who graduated from UNR.
Okay.
Brandon Marshall. He's coming back to play at home. He's a linebacker.
No, wait a minute. He's also related to Anthony Williams.
Yes, he is.
They're cousins.
Yeah, they're cousins. Exactly.
Okay, now wait a minute.
He's related to Anthony.
Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute.
Yeah, Brandon is coming.
Because he won a ring with Denver, right?
Right. He won a ring with Denver.
So let's tell this conversation. Anthony Williams. Let's talk. Anthony Williams is
Right.
an incredible executive for MGM Resorts International. We've had the honor to be able to serve him as one of our executive coaching clients.
Yep.
And let's talk. If we in the green room we were talking about, seems like everywhere we go, Anthony Williams is related to somebody. And so I was saying, Lisa and I just did an event for CAEO, Center for Academic Enrichment and Outreach for UNLV.
Right.
And there's about 22 people in the room, and there was this lady sitting on the right-hand side. She's in charge of Upward Bound, Jenny, right? And I happened to send Anthony the highlight reel of that workshop that we did. Guess what? That's his cousin.
That's his cousin in the front.
And then you come in this room today.
Oh yeah,
in
everybody's
the studio
his cousin.
talking about. You said everybody's his cousin.
Let's just shout them out: Mike, Amy, Nicole, Carson, Brandon Marshall, Barbara Marshall. Okay, there's his family.
I know Anthony Williams' parents definitely, they believed in procreation.
That's what I said.
Because everybody's this guy's cousin.
So Anthony, is your middle name Abraham?
That was so funny.
It's crazy,
yeah.
But he's coming back home. He's coming
home to play. He's
playing with the Raiders this year.
I don't remember the whole story, but I know he actually was at UNR as well.
Yeah.
He was like an assistant coach, and I don't want to tell a story that I don't know, but I have a feeling that he may have attempted to try to go pro and it didn't work out or whatever. But then he pursued it. He continued to pursue it while he was assistant coach at UNR, and then that's when I think he went straight from there to Denver. I could be wrong because I don't.
Oh no! Are you talking about Brandon?
Yeah.
So Brandon actually got drafted by, I want to say, Jacksonville.
But then how did he get to Reno? Because he was not in the pros. Then he went from Reno to the pros.
He actually was a player at UNR. He played on the team with Kaepernick.
Okay.
So they he graduated. He got drafted, I think, in the 6th round.
Okay.
And he went to Jacksonville.
Okay.
But then they were stacked with linebackers.
Okay.
So he had to just keep grinding, keep pushing, and then he got traded to Denver, which is where he had his breakthrough.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was huge because he could have given up.
Oh yeah.
He literally was. I believe he was performing as assistant coach at UNR.
Maybe for a little while. Maybe helping.
Yeah. Because I remember Anthony telling me that. Because he said my cousin just went to Denver. And he was telling me about this Brandon guy that
and we should have him on the show because Brandon has an even better story. He's one of those people I said that grew up here and people don't know the whole story. They see him getting a Super Bowl ring now. They lost the first Super Bowl that he was in.
But they don't know the challenges. So what we need to do is do a shout out to Anthony Williams and say, Anthony, we need you to
we want to talk to all you could.
Right. We should do a cousins reunion. This is Williams cousin. So we'll use our connection with Anthony to get to Brandon and have Brandon come on and really talk about that from an insider's perspective of what that's like to even play in a league like that. Because most of us will never know those details.
And Tony got to play. Tony got to play for the San Francisco 49ers.
That's right, Tony Gladney. And by the way, we got the opportunity to serve Tony. Tony was one of our executive coaching clients too that we got to serve from MGM as well. Is he related to Anthony?
Could be. we got to check. It's funny because I met Tony playing semi-pro, and Tony was a wide receiver, big dude, right? Big, burly.
Yeah,
so
he's a big, strong guy. Super kind guy.
What we call an arm bar.
Right.
Right. He would. You know,
We called that straight arming.
Yeah. So
you guys called it arm barring.
Well, because when you're running down the field with a wide receiver,
yeah.
The referee can't see everything.
Oh, right.
Right. So you're running down the field,
right.
and he got his arm, and you know these guys are big,
right.
so little old me, you know, they're pushing me aside. You know, I'm not little, but I'm
strong.
I'm smaller than those guys.
Right.
And so what I used to do is when they put I had it down. As soon as they put their arm up, I'd hit right there. And Tony said, I couldn't stand you. You used to make me so angry, you know, and he tells that story every time.
You know what's so funny to hear that? If anyone out there is listening to this program and they know Tony Gladney,
yeah,
he doesn't have an anger bone in his
No,
body.
not
so
at
for
all.
him to say you made him angry, you're probably the only one in the world that's ever made Tony Gladney angry. Because he don't get angry.
He don't get angry, right.
He doesn't.
Right.
The first thing he does when something he doesn't like, he starts nodding.
Oh, yeah.
He starts nodding his head. And he's going,
Yeah.
really he's thinking he don't like it,
Right.
but he won't demonstrate that. He's just nodding. And he'll nod, and he'll smack his lips, and he'll smack. And he'll
going well.
Yeah, I can see him doing this.
But I tell people every time I tell them about relationships, right? Tony and I are great friends now, and you know it started with that when we were in our 20-somethings and playing football, and then our kids graduated from Bonanza High School together. My youngest son, his daughter, graduated from Bonanza together, and then you know we run Urban Chamber Board together. There's so many cool things that evolve from those relationships in sports.
So you should say that because I do believe that at the end of the day, in life, Shondell, not just sports, it's all about relationships.
Oh yeah.
It's all about relationships. When my older brother Al Farrell, who was he was a level athlete at your level.
Yeah.
He was at that level. And without telling a long story, he was the best in the state for sure.
Wow.
And he had opportunities to go all over to go to the university. He ended up going to UNR. Anyway, circumstances didn't allow him to stay there for a whole nother story. But then when he had children, they were super athletes. And not only were they super athletes, they were also highly intelligent.
Yeah.
And that would be Nicole and James. Now, James, his son James, I told my brother, I said, because they're from Hawthorne, Nevada, I said, I want these kids to come visit me every break that they get. And when they did, I was going to take them to University of San Francisco. I was going to take them to UCLA and USC. I wanted them to realize that the world is bigger than Hawthorne. Because you don't know that when you're living there as a kid.
Right. Hawthorne is the world.
It is the world.
Right.
So I wanted them to have more and better choices.
Sure.
I only got them here one time. And James was a freshman when he did that. And I was expecting to get him for the next 4 years and take Nicole as well. Well, when James graduated from school, he was a straight A student, so he was a 4.0 plus student. Plus, let me just give you one. I'll tell you how good he was. He played all sports. In small schools, you have to, if you're good, you have to play all sports.
Yeah.
So he played football, basketball, and baseball. And in football, he lettered. Not only did he letter as a freshman, he was a 4-year letterman, but in football, he made All-State in 8 positions.
Wow, that's incredible.
Think about that.
Oh man, you kidding me?
Come on. That's like he was a quarterback and he threw the ball and he went and caught it too.
Caught it, right?
So
and then he was the guy that spiked it too.
Right.
He said, oh, wait, let me be that third player.
Right. So we're talking about relationships. Which, I mean, he was really, really exceptional.
That's incredible.
People from other schools, because it was a AA high school at the time. Well, I shouldn't speak. I know when I went to school it was AA. From other small schools would come watch him play, even though they didn't even live in that town.
Yeah.
They would drive wherever Hawthorne played.
Right.
And we're talking about relationships. I wanted those kids to gain relationship equity and to realize the world is bigger than Hawthorne. But what ended up happening is they never came back. So he did end up going to school in the Dakotas, but he had his choice at Army and Navy and Air Force and UCLA and USC and all these schools, but he didn't know at the time about relationships. And if I could have got them here, he could have made different choices. Wow. That's my whole point.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's I had a lot of choices when I was in the military and playing semi-pro. I was asked to play arena football, play Canadian football. And I chose to stay in the military because at the time.
Why did you make that choice?
Well, it was more financial and future.
Did you have a family at the time too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was a single father with 4 kids.
Wow.
So it was, and in fact, that's how I actually got to gaming, which is weird, right? Because Felix Rappaport at the time was with MGM, and MGM was one of our big supporters.
You need to stop.
Yeah.
Felix Rappaport is also related to Anthony Williams.
Possible.
No, he is, because when he came in as the president over at Mandalay and Excalibur and Luxor, when Anthony was an executive over there, that's who Anthony reported to.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
Another Anthony relationship, whatever.
Crazy stuff. Huh?
Yeah.
But it is funny because just playing football, I wouldn't say just playing football, but playing football introduced me to Felix. Felix was intrigued, and not only like he saw some things on the field that told him that I had the leadership and the ability to work with him, and he was recruiting people to work with him at MGM, which later he went to Stations. And when he went to Stations, he still recruited me when I got out of the military.
That's a big deal because I'm just going to say it. People with your complexion weren't being recruited for jobs like that back in the day.
Yeah, but he made it a point. That's why Anthony. I'm sure he got close to Anthony. He made it a point to recruit diversity, and especially he wanted more black males. He said, I want to make sure that you clearly understand that, one, I love the talent that you bring, but I also love the diversity of thought that you're going to bring to this whole thing. And then when he didn't even know yet about my marketing background,
right?
And once he learned that, he said that's even a bigger bonus for Stations.
So that's huge. So you can see how sports and athletics and relationships come together there. So let's move on then from that. You mentioned also that the NFL draft being hosted here next year.
Next year,
that's a big thing.
That is huge.
I can't even. That's just so unimaginable, because our town back in the day didn't really support professional sports. Remember when the Utah Jazz used to play here and the Lakers used to, you go to the game, there was like
nobody
tons
there.
No.
Yeah.
So the Aviators, let's slide to them. The Las Vegas Aviators, formerly known as Las Vegas 51s and Las Vegas Stars, are a minor league baseball team in the Pacific Coast League and the AAA affiliate of the Oakland Athletics. They are located right here in Summerlin, a community in Las Vegas. And so what they have done for Summerlin, for Las Vegas and for Summerlin, it's so delightful. We live in Summerlin.
Yeah.
So it's so delightful to know that Lisa and I could literally walk to the ballpark and watch a game in 5 minutes.
And you know what else happens? Because and shouts out to my girl Danielle Bisterfeld. She's with Howard Hughes Corporation. She's my VP of marketing. Now it brings more economic development to Summerlin.
Oh, yeah.
So people are coming from all over the valley to watch, the Aviators.
That's right.
So or from other cities.
That's right.
Otherwise, like, most people would never come to Summerlin, right?
No, they would. So people from out of town may not even know that it exists.
Right. So it helps downtown Summerlin. It
does.
Helps, Red Rock, my old station partners.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And
helps everybody.
It provides, and what I like what it does too, it provides choices.
Yeah.
Imagine the young kids that are 8 and 9 and 10 and 12.
Yeah.
Like our insurance agent, Brian Terry. Brian Terry's a pretty cool guy. And he's got these 3 cool kids and his wife, just a beautiful wife, and a great family. We saw them at the last Aviator game that we went to. We saw them sitting in the stands, and you see these 3 kids with their baseball hats on.
Yeah. And
they're watching the game. And assume that Brian keeps this up. What do his kids think when they're 15 and 16 and 17 and 18? Yeah. When this is in their neighborhood and they got to go to see these pro games with the Aviators playing, that's part of their rhythm. They grew up going to the ballpark.
Yeah.
That's going to create memories.
And I'll tell you this, Jess, because everybody asks me, why are you a New York Yankee fan?
Okay.
Oh, because they're winning.
I love this.
They're winning, Shondell. Yeah, you love it because they're a storied franchise and Babe Ruth and blah, 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 blah. No. I'm going to tell you the truth. It was Willie Randolph in the 1970s.
Wow.
Willie Randolph came to our class in PS 309 in Brooklyn, near Bushwick. And he came and said, hey, if you guys do a great job in school, you will be rewarded. In fact, I'm going to reward you right now. If you have an A on your report card bring it to the back gate of Yankee Stadium, and you will get in free.
Wow.
Imagine that, right?
Wow.
So
that's a big deal.
in my mind,
that's big.
Right? 7 years old. I'm going to a ballpark. I'm Yankees, right?
Absolutely.
There's no way you're going to tear me apart because I got a free ticket to sit way out in left field. I mean, the players, you think about Reggie Jackson, think about all these folks who played for the Yankees.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I'm in this stadium.
And you feel a part of it. It's like an extension of the community.
Yeah. And me and my wife, Arlene, for when we went to New York, she wanted to go because she's a big Yankee fan now.
Yeah.
And she loves Aaron Judge. So she wanted to sit right behind Aaron Judge.
Right.
And it took me back. Like, you know how you have one of those moments when you walk in the stadium
right.
and you go, oh, my God, man. I'm back here again. You smell the popcorn.
Right.
And here's what's bad about it, Jess. Just reality check. I'm 50 now.
Right.
50, going on 51, right? And I grabbed this big old tub of popcorn, and during the game, I'm like,
right.
And Arlene's like, honey, you just ate a whole tub of popcorn, and I was hurting that night. So I'm not 7 years old anymore.
That's right. It doesn't quite go through you like it used to. Your metabolism a little different.
Yeah, but the feeling was there.
Yeah.
I was like 7 years old again.
You were in the moment.
I was in the moment.
Going back to the Brian Terry example,
Yeah.
you're in the moment. And,
Yeah.
and think about what he's creating for his kids and those
Yeah.
other families, what they're creating. And it's a dynamic, and it's a camaraderie, it's a coming together. It's very exciting. So we're happy to have that.
I tell you what, I got Mayor March on here, and I just want to give her a shout out because the Vegas Golden Knights, who's on next on our list.
Exactly.
The Vegas Golden Knights practice facility is going to be put in the old convention center in Henderson off of Water Street. So they're going to do another practice facility.
They're going to have two of them?
They're going to have two. This one will be an alternate site, but it's really designed to help the youth and folks who are on the other side of town get engaged in hockey and things.
That's interesting.
The players will still primarily use the City National
right here in
over
Summerlin.
here in Summerlin.
Yeah.
But they opened another facility because the sport is growing. And give it shouts out to Kerry and those guys. Kerry is the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights.
And where they going to be?
So they'll
the
be
second location.
You know where the convention center was for? That's where they'll be. They're going to they'll be restructuring that and they'll be
that's a big
right
deal.
there. That'll be a huge thing for not only the city of Henderson but to expand the sport. Because one thing, talking to Kerry one-on-one, he said the NHL wants to be diverse. The NHL wants diversity because the truth is, Major League Baseball can garner the salaries they can now because they're an international sport.
Right.
The NBA, and they talked about it. If you ever get to watch the special about the Dream Team,
sure.
Once it became an international sport, what happens? Kids all over are buying jerseys.
Yeah.
So now it just helps the whole economic fiber of the country.
Yeah. Well, you talking about that second location. What first came to mind as soon as I heard you say that was what I see as a sense of pride in our town.
Yeah.
You can't go to almost any business without seeing a Golden Knights flag,
dude.
or
my shirt yesterday.
Or you can buy the paraphernalia. Right.
Oh, yeah.
I had it on. I had it on before this, but I had to take it off to put our shirt on.
Right.
But you can buy Golden Knights mugs and hats and T-shirts. It's all over town, and the signs we're proud of, and that brings a sense of that's what your New York story is. You being a New York fan, it brings a sense of pride and togetherness.
Yeah.
You are related because that team is bringing you together, no matter whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Jewish, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
That if you're involved in that, we're all on the same team. So let me read the.
Well, real quick, Jess. I got Donnie Fletcher from New York.
Okay.
Donnie lives in Brooklyn right now.
Oh wow.
So Donnie says, I hear the concessions in Atlanta are affordable. How affordable or pricey would the concessions in Vegas be? Donnie, I'm hearing that I'm hearing this from the Stadium Authority Board, and I'll confirm this at the meeting today, but that they will be affordable. And I was just in Atlanta, and I went to a Giants Falcons game.
Okay.
It is very affordable. It is great pricing. It's easy to get. You can even order from your seat and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Which is cool.
Nice.
And he asked, who will I be rooting for when the Giants come to town? Hey, let me make it clear. Let me make this
Let me
clear.
hear this one.
All right?
Let me hear this one.
I have told the president of the Raiders. I have told Napoleon McCallum, who's a good friend, played for the Raiders.
Right.
I have told everyone involved in the Raider organization, make no mistake about it, if the Giants come play, I am rooting for my Giants.
Oh, wow.
I love the Raiders coming to Vegas.
Wow.
But you know what? Lawrence Taylor, that was my dude.
Wow.
You know, and he got me hooked on loving the Giants, right?
Wow.
Even though I think the Giants, kind of ticked me off this year. I'm not going to go there.
But you're not going to drop them just
I'm
because
not
of
dropping
that.
the Giants. I'm not happy with Gettleman, but that's another story.
Right.
That's their general manager. Getting rid of my boy OBJ. I'm not happy with that.
Right.
But I without a doubt, Donnie, I'm rooting for the Giants.
Okay,
Big
fair
blue.
enough. I see where you stand. So that's where you and I are a little bit different. We're the same in so many areas. I went to UNR the first 2 years, and I did that in high school in a program called Upward Bound, which is what Jenny, Anthony Williams' cousin, she manages that here for UNLV.
Yeah.
And so that, I didn't want to go back to UNR because 98 to 99% of the kids that graduate from my school that go to college go to UNR.
Right.
I knew it was time for me to grow up. So anyway, I chose UNLV.
Right.
So whenever UNR and UNLV are playing one another, who do you think I root for?
UNR? UNLV?
I win. No matter, whoever
Doesn't matter.
whoever wins, I win.
So whatever color they paint the cannon, you're standing there with a photo.
Right.
Blue. Red.
So now I don't know what Donnie thinks about that, but when UNR and UNLV play, I win.
That's funny. That's a good one.
I win.
You win.
I cannot lose.
I don't lose either.
How
man.
can I support UNR
Yeah.
and not support UNLV, where I spent 8 years 10 years getting education and 6 years as a professor? How can I support UNLV when if it wasn't for UNR, I would have never made it to UNLV?
Absolutely. Yeah,
How can I? You tell me. That, you know what that creates? An impossible dynamic.
That's an impossible. You brought it back. Look at you, man. The impossible dynamic.
So
So let's talk about that.
Let's segue for a moment.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to my story about how that creates an impossible dynamic. Share what you're willing to share, even if you give Reader's Digest version of a circumstance. You don't have to share the names or anything, but detail that you were working with your daughter, who's CEO. What's her position?
President
of the company?
CEO.
President CEO of the company.
Yep.
And a circumstance happened that was basically a no-win situation. Share your thoughts. I'll go back and forth with you on that.
You sit down and you do what you do reviews on proposals and things like that. And my daughter was just sitting there, and it was a teachable moment for her as the CEO of the company. Because you try to get information that can help you improve upon your proposal, and saying, hey, okay, we didn't do so well on this, or we scored lower than we anticipated. So the agency is supposed to give you information to help you improve the next time you go around.
Right.
We felt like the agency did not do that. So my daughter sat there and said, well, that's tough because we really kind of wasted an hour.
Right.
And she felt dejected a little bit, like, okay, so now what do I do?
Right. She's basically almost taking it personally, if not fully taking it personally.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Because you put a lot of work.
Of course.
You guys know you put an RFP in. They're talking
No
about,
joke.
hey, keep it within 10 pages, and that's difficult when and they're asking you to answer all of these questions. So she spent a good 2 weeks working on this proposal.
I get it.
Up at night, asking questions, getting your financials, doing
Sure.
whatever you have to do.
Sure.
But so when you sit down and do this debrief, you're like, okay, I'll get a debrief, and it will help me to do better next time. Well, she didn't get that. So she's feeling, so like you were talking about the impossible dynamic.
Well, what happened is you said when that happened, you said this is one of those circumstances, and sometimes this happens where basically, I'm paraphrasing. Correct me if I got it wrong. Somehow you said something like, either there's nothing to learn here, or you're not going to win with this one. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing.
Yep.
There's nothing to be gained from this. Basically, is what you were saying.
Exactly.
And I said I disagree.
Yep.
There is something to be gained from this.
Yep.
What there's to be gained from this? This builds her bandwidth. That there are circumstances out there like this that create an impossible dynamic, and you lit up.
Yeah.
And an impossible dynamic. I'm going to read to you exactly where. I'll tell you where it came from. I'm going to read to you the passage.
Okay.
So we were reading this book called The 50th Law.
50th Law, okay.
The 50th Law, there was a guy named Robert Greene who wrote a number of great books. Books on power, power versus force and different things. And 50 Cent, the rapper and entrepreneur, he discovered that one of Robert Greene's books and he loved it.
Yeah, you know he's from New York too.
Oh, is he related to Anthony Williams?
He might be related. Everybody in Vegas related to Anthony. Right. He might be related to me.
Right. So
yeah.
So 50 Cent loved it. So he called up, 48 Laws of Power. It's a heavy read.
Yeah.
That's Robert Greene. It's good, but you got to go slow.
Yeah.
Or you just lose it.
Yep.
It's deep.
Yeah.
And so when 50 Cent read that, he got in touch with Robert Greene and said, I think we ought to write a book together and we ought to call it the 50th Law between the two of them.
Right.
And Robert Greene said, well, I don't really know who you are. So Robert Greene went and spent like a year. Whatever 50 Cent did, he was right there like a ghost. Whether it was a drug deal or it was a record deal or it was in the studio, or whatever he did, he got to see. So Robert Greene told 50 Cent, the stuff that you're doing is not any different than the stuff that happens in corporate America.
Exactly.
Which was huge.
No, that's
so,
huge.
So then he decided to write the book. So inside of the book, there's this passage where 50 Cent and Robert Greene talk about the impossible dynamic.
Wow.
Let me read it to you.
Cool.
Check this out. The definition from the book is this. Sometimes in life, you find yourself in a negative situation that can't be improved no matter what you do. That was your daughter.
Yep.
No matter what you do. You might find yourself working for people who are irrational. Their actions seem to serve no purpose apart from imposing their power and making you miserable. Everything you do is wrong. You can recognize this dynamic by your emotional need to somehow solve the problem, mixed with your complete frustration in finding any kind of a reasonable answer. That was your daughter. In truth, the only viable solution is to terminate the relationship. No arguing, no bargaining, no compromising. You leave the job. There are always others. You leave the person who is tormenting you with as much finality as possible. Resist the temptation to feel any guilt. You need to create as much distance as possible so they can't inveigle these emotions into you. The relationship must be terminated so you can go on with your life. The 50th Law, Robert Greene, 50 Cent.
Wow.
Tell me that is not
That is right on
specifically
point.
tied to that situation.
Yeah, because you
Put it down.
And I've always practiced that law without even knowing it was a law.
Right.
Yeah. Because I get to a point where if I've done everything I possibly can do, I sit back and say, okay, you know what? I've done everything that I could. Let's move on.
Right.
Right?
You're practicing the impossible dynamic. But to name it, Shondell, to name it,
The impossible dynamic.
think about that.
All right, Tiara, the impossible dynamic.
When you have done the diagnosis, you've done the work, and you look at it and you realize that is an impossible dynamic,
Yep.
you have no choice, but you have choices.
Yep.
But the best choice is to put that down.
Right. Sit. Look right there and tell Tiara.
Tiara, I'm asking you. I'm pleading with you. Put it down and walk away.
Walk away. I love it. I love it. I appreciate
Tell
that.
me, isn't that exciting?
Oh, yeah.
Lisa and I use that impossible dynamic terminology
Yep.
all the time. And the moment she says it, she isolates something, she says it,
Yep.
everything in me just drops it.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, or we're doing it simultaneously.
And you know what's interesting? Tiara, she was an athlete.
Okay.
She ran track.
Okay.
Ran 4x4.
Okay.
No, 4x4, 400 meters. But she ran in the 4x4 as well. She was a sprinter. So, and at that time, for her age, right, even as a youth, I think Tiara was 13, 14 years old. They were running that quarter mile in almost a minute.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And now she sees the times and stuff. She's like, wow, that was amazing. And you guys have met Tiara, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
what is your impression?
She's well put together. I'll put it to you like this. She knows her place in her lane.
Yeah. She understands.
She's intelligent. She observes. She reads the room, the situation, the people. The opportunity I got to spend with her was at the 100 Black Man. And when she sat at that table, she wasn't over the top. She wasn't trying to prove herself. She found her way. She seemed to blend and find her zone and say what was on her mind at the right times that just lended quality to the conversation, to those new, because they were all new relationships. None of us knew each other.
Right.
You know, with the, what was it, Shantae and...
Yeah, the twins.
Yes, yes. And so Tiara has professionalism. She has she's easy to connect with. And I get the sense that she's comfortable in her skin and knows her place in her life.
Very comfortable.
That would be my read on her.
Yep. She and what's funny is she's not much of a follower. That's what has always been impressive about her, is that she won't allow other people to shape her.
Right.
She's focused on where she wants to be and what she wants to do. Not even, I mean, even as a father,
right.
I've never really put the pressure on my kids to even come join the business. It's just she says, this is what I want to do and this is how I want to do it. And she knows how to balance and say, all right, I need my dad, I need my mom, or I need to do this on my own.
And when she sets her mind to something, she's got a strong conviction.
Strong on it, yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And that goes back to athletics, by the way.
Yeah.
Those people that get to be pros, to be a professional athlete, you've got to have a strong conviction like Tiara.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be talented. There's a lot of other athletes out there that are just as talented as you.
Yeah, you got to have that conviction. You have to have the work ethic, that focus.
Yes.
You know, and it separates you from everybody else.
I also think you have to find great mentors, role models, and coaches, because even the greatest athletes will tell you they'll almost always point back to a coach or coaches. And a lot of times it's the coach in the early days.
Yeah.
That helped them become like their high school coach or the junior high school coach or the peewee coach or whatever. It's not always the top level coaches.
Yeah, Tiara always reverts back to Cheryl, Coach Cheryl, Coach Roy, Coach Cedric, all of those people who have put something in her.
Whatever it was, it was the desire that even though you're good, don't settle for that.
Exactly.
The desire to continue to what we call Connie, constant and never-ending improvement.
Right.
CANEI.
Wow, man, this guy got all of it.
Constant and never-ending improvement.
Connie, you sound like the Samuel Jackson. Remember all of his sisters he had in that movie?
Yeah.
When he was coaching basketball.
Right.
I got another sister named Linda.
Right.
Sister's coach got.
That was good. Yeah. So let's tell you about the Golden Knights here. Vegas Golden Knights are a professional ice hockey team based in Las Vegas, metropolitan area, that competes in the National Hockey League. And boy, did they compete well. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
They are members of the Pacific Division of the league's Western Conference and began play in 2017 to 2018 NHL season. City National Arena is the practice facility, and as Shondell said, there's an additional one coming online here, over there where the convention center was. And team headquarters of Las Vegas Golden Knights of the right here in Summerlin. So I'm going to tell you, when I heard we were getting a hockey team, I did not think it was a big deal.
Yeah,
I couldn't have been more wrong. I did not. I was afraid that it wouldn't get the support it deserved.
Right.
I was because I was going from the past. Your past is not your present.
Right.
And your past is not your future.
Right.
Your past is your past.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been more wrong.
And I'll tell you what's interesting, like you said, you see a lot of people walk around with Golden Knights gear.
All the time.
And what's so funny is half of those people have never been to a game. They are there. You ask them, say, hey, you been to a game? Not yet, but I love the Golden Knights.
Right.
And I told Carrie and those guys, they did a phenomenal job of engaging the community on the Golden Knights, the brand.
It was huge.
It was just,
and they brought them into the community big time. That big part of it.
And then to go to Stanley Cups in your first Stanley Cup championship in your first year is amazing. Because the other night I was talking to a lady. Well, no, yesterday I had my shirt on. She's like, "Yeah, it was very disappointing last year." I'm like, "Disappointing?"
I wasn't disappointed.
I said, "Lady, you know they've only been in 2 years,
right?
2 years, and they've been to the finals, and they've been to the playoffs.
Yeah,
try being a Knicks fan,
right?"
Because they haven't won a championship since '73.
Right.
And then they haven't been to playoffs in the last, almost a decade. So think about the first 2 years.
Amazing.
You're in a championship.
Right.
And then last year was controversial. Of course, controversy always comes with sports. There's a rule change based on that game where there was a goal allowed and wasn't supposed to be allowed, whatever the case may be.
It was a game changer.
It was a game changer. But though it's amazing when people, not just in Vegas, if you're in the airport and you got on Vegas Golden Knights.
Funny you should say that.
So
Lisa and I
crazy.
travel for speaking engagements all the time. I don't wear my Knights anymore on the road because I can't get through. People want to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they know more about it than I do.
Yeah.
And so if I don't want a conversation, I can't wear my Golden Knights.
Right.
If I don't mind the conversation, I can wear Golden Knights.
Yeah.
And anytime I've worn my Golden Knights gear, whether it's local or abroad, I always get conversation.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Have you ever gone to a game yet?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
the stadium is
my goodness.
absolutely
Oh
nuts.
man, and
It's full.
and it's so crazy because you hear, when they're doing the Star Spangled Banner.
Sure.
Right, you remember that part?
Yeah.
When they go, what's the part about night? Oh man,
I've only seen it
and
once.
everybody yells out, "Night!"
Right.
You know, it's like there's this energy that is like nonstop through all three quarters.
Yeah.
Right? And then you got the Envy Energy power play and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing.
It's brought a magic. You know what? I think it adds a different facet to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Having the Golden Knights.
Yeah.
And so now having a slew of professional teams here, I think it's adding additional complexions to. It doesn't change our core who we are or the image of Vegas. I think it's adding more of a dazzle effect.
And you know what? It brings that sense of community that people kept saying that was lacking somewhat because we all get in our cars and drive off, but we go to a Golden Knights game together. Right? You walk in, you're a Golden Knights fan. You're no longer Shondell. You're no longer Jesse.
Right.
You become a Golden Knights fan,
Right.
which I think is important. I think that's the most important thing. I tell you what's funny is two things about Arlene, right? Arlene went to the game and she had on a Vegas-born shirt, right? So it meant two things to her. I was born in Vegas.
Right.
And check it out. I'm a real native. All you other guys are imposters. I'm Vegas-born, baby.
Right.
So that was one thing. But and what's funny is, so when we went to the Yankee game, we're sitting in a bar across the street because I told her this time we go sit down and have breakfast at this breakfast spot. It's a bar and a breakfast place. And she sat down and she's a Yankee fan, right? So she's walking around with her Aaron Judge shirt and they're like, "Yeah, baby Judge." And she's like, "Yeah, baby Judge." So now she's a New Yorker, right? She's a New York Yankee. So it's just amazing what sports can do and change who you are in that moment.
Right. Right.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, I actually never had the skills to be a professional athlete. I didn't go to the levels that you did or my brother or his kids. But still, because I was entrenched in athletics since I was a young kid, and I was never great. I was good, not great. And you need to be great to keep going. And then when you get to college, you need to be greater than great to go to the next level. The level at each level from high school to college is a big gap. Dude. From college to the pro, it's a big gap.
Yeah,
it keeps getting more tighter.
I tell you what's funny about it is like, okay, high school. Yeah. Right. Think of the lineman. The offensive lineman usually some pudgy dude. Right. His parents are telling him to kind of lose weight, get in athletics. So he's not really, that guy running down the field. Right. You get to the professional level.
Whole different.
Oh, my goodness. So
they're fast, too.
Yeah.
I know. Dude, how's he moving that fast?
Think about it. At less than 200 pounds, probably 185 pounds, I'm running a 4.40. Right? At 320 pounds, a dude is running a 5 flat 40.
You're like, how's he doing that?
How is he doing that?
Yeah. It's a whole different level.
And I'm saying, like, literally, this is the difference, right? Because they say, well, a player comes from from college, they're thinking they got slower. They're saying, like, Reggie Bush, he used to zip, 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 and gone. Right. But Reggie Bush didn't have a dude like Warren Sapp. Right. Right? At 300 pounds. Right. On his heels the whole time, right? At USC, you don't get that. Right. You get. You watch some of those guys. Right. Snacks Harrison at 375? Yeah. And he's running.
Right, fast.
Right.
Yeah.
You're running fast.
Yeah.
So just it's amazing when you get to see some of these guys and their athletic ability.
It is. But even if you don't ascend to those levels, if you're in the program and you commit to it, it teaches you a discipline. It teaches you organization. It teaches you structure. It teaches you how to get along with one another,
yeah.
it's a relationship, because
Yeah.
not everybody on the team's
How to
not
deal with
coming from-
adversity.
Exactly.
Okay, you lost. What's
It was
next?
such an amazing backdrop for a non-professional person to use athletics to propel through life.
And can I tell you, that's why I hate the whole everybody gets a trophy thing.
Yeah.
Or everybody wins.
Yeah.
The reason why I hate that is, and people get, they talk to me about that, but I said, look, you losing is a part of life and a part of growth.
It
right?
is.
So when Tiara lost a track event, it wasn't devastation. It was how do I improve so the next time I can win.
You taught her how to learn, pull a lesson from the loss. Lisa and I say it all the time. Whenever you lose in life, don't lose the lesson.
Yeah.
We look for the lesson. Yes, is it painful to lose? Yes, it is.
Oh, it is, very.
But that's also part of the growth.
Yes.
So you take that lesson, throw away the rest of the loss, and live and vibe from that lesson. In fact, Lisa, do you have anybody that is on the watch party that you want to let us know that we can say hello to? I'll go to yours too, Shondell. We won't spend too much time there, but because we're going to be closing shortly. But I want to say just some shout outs.
Tony Odom McNeil.
Tony Odom McNeil out of Reno, Nevada. You know why she's on the line?
Why?
Because she's from Hawthorne.
Hawthorne, building.
And she lives in Reno where UNR is.
We
right?
ought to do a rap song about Hawthorne.
Yeah, we ought to. We ought to get Tony McNeil.
Yeah.
Tony, what's... Say the full.
Tony Odom McNeil.
Tony Odom McNeil, because I think her as Tony Odom,
right?
But Tony Odom McNeil and the Odoms, they didn't play.
Right on.
Say when you went to the Odom's house, you better get real because they're gonna tell it like it is.
Bring it.
That's Daryl Odom, Mama Odom, James Odom. They're all the same. Who else you got? Who else?
Mike Muni.
Mike Muni. Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
Wow.
He's cool. Mike is a great inventor. This guy can. He does some incredible things with applications.
Tony Donato, of course.
Tony Donato out of Rochester.
Yeah, Rochester.
Julie Daly.
Alan Ludwig.
Julie Neal.
Julie Neal. Okay,
Cool.
Julie Daly.
That's
Julie
good
Neal.
stuff.
Julie's amazing too. Julie spent. We've talked about her before. She rose really high up in television. She was one of the high-level executives in television back in the day.
Right on.
Who else you got, Lisa? That's it?
That's good for now, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So I got one of my other high school buddies, Mike Lowry.
Wow.
Mitchell. We went to high school together, and high school of graphic communication arts.
Okay.
My cousin Sincere out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
Listening, checking us out. Cedric Williams. He was. Hey, you know what, Cedric? We just got finished talking about you.
Okay, Cedric. That's good. That's good.
That was one of coaches. Lou Wilson. You know what, Lou. Wait, is Lou a cousin of Anthony's? Maybe.
Oh boy, here we go, Anthony Williams again.
Here we go. Right on. And then Mayor March.
Okay,
Henderson
nice.
Mayor.
Wow, nice.
She's checking us out.
Very nice.
Dottie Davis, Lucy Stewart. I see Ricky Red, Alan Parker, Lane Mathis, Iris Moore, Terrence Johnson with the state. He's with the state, the business.
Very nice.
For the state. And Sheila Lacey, my cousin Francine from New York, my cousin from Jersey.
So you got all the way out of New York checking us out.
I got cousins too. See, Anthony, I got family too. Right? My little nephew, Chris. I see Chris there. Delgado, one of the North Las Vegas Fire Police Department, and also a member of my church. Joe Cato. Jaime Cruz. Jaime is the Workforce Connections Director.
Very good.
Workforce Connections.
Very
Berta
good.
Norwood, Daniel Cherry. We talked about Michael Elliott and Edwin Rose and Spody Mack.
Wow.
Got them all.
That's pretty good between you and Lisa.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
Very, very cool. Well, you know what? Thank you guys for joining and tuning in. Thank you for, Tony Odom out there, Tony Odom McNeil out there, and Reno for tuning in and showing up for our Northern Nevada crew and all of our New York crew. You got some cousins out there in the New York crew.
Cousins.
So that's cool. So let's say this. The last two we're gonna mention will be the Las Vegas Lights soccer team and the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
So we got soccer, we got women's basketball, we got football, we got hockey of all. Vegas with a hockey team. Would you ever even imagine?
I never would have thought that.
Baseball. So
ice in the desert.
I wonder, wouldn't it be great for all of these teams that are coming here at some point to put on some sort of a program where they're all represented there?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be kind of cool?
It's funny you say that because the chambers are working on things like that.
That would be
putting
amazing.
A lot of those cool, and the organizations are all willing. They are all willing to make it happen. Some people have to understand too, like the folks in our community have to understand that the Raiders are still in Oakland right now.
Right.
So they can't go all in Vegas
now.
No,
they have to pay respect for where they're at.
Yeah, anyway. You can't do that. So know that 2020 is on. It
Yes.
is going to be on. It's going to be something to watch. Just opening the stadium, just having UNLV even,
I think UNLV
gonna be
using that
amazing.
stadium, that's going to help them probably do better recruiting and so forth too,
Yeah.
because of all of that too.
Yeah.
And who knows, the option and opportunity just by being here, right here where the Raiders are approaching.
yeah.
I really think that this allows Las Vegas to up level.
Yeah.
This is allowing us to
No doubt.
grow up a bit, not just be
doubt.
stuck in all of our past and our historical stuff. Because Vegas has a lot of rich history that people stay with. This is creating new history.
Yeah. And just think about it, the NBA Summer League moved most of their games here now. They had the most games ever in the NBA Summer League history.
Wow, and that's pretty big. Summer League's been here for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, some of the greats have come, all of the greats have come through here. Michael Jordan and
LeBron James.
Yeah.
They were making a big deal of all the new draft picks. Zion Williamson was the #1 draft pick, and everybody, you should have seen the stadium packed on that day. Unfortunately, the earthquake kind of interrupted a little bit of the activity, but it was amazing. It was like, when the Rebels were hot back in the day, it had that energy. It had that energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And funny you should say that because it was an energy, you could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, for their toughest games, I'd go out and buy new shoes to watch the game in.
Wow.
Just to watch the game. I'd kick my feet up with my new shoes, and I'd look at the game and my new Nikes at the same time.
That is so crazy.
I did. And I send my brother the most recent pair that were really not old. I sent him my brother Alan Hawthorne. He'd love them. So every time there was a hot game on, he knew he was gonna get some more shoes.
Kicks, huh?
So I want to let's do this. I want to talk about as we bring this to a close. Where can people find some new marketing and Shondell?
Find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You could either go by Some New Marketing or Shondell Newsom, and you can find me. It's easy.
Fair enough. Same thing with Lisa. Listen, Lisa Farrell. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube. We got our website. That's it. In fact, we just redid our website, and it's looking pretty fresh.
Cool.
Lisa Olshafer is an amazing professional, and she just restructured our whole site, and it's completely incredible. And so this was one of those. I got to tell the truth. The idea for this concept for this particular episode 8 here, came from you, and it was, in fact, the idea you wanted us to maybe see if we could go around and go to the stadium. That would have been even better, but we can still do it. But the time didn't allow it at the moment.
Right.
But we may swing back and do one of these from the stadium, from the ballpark, from the parking lot, from inside of wherever.
Yeah.
So this, I think it was a brilliant idea. It was very, very good. So I'm glad you came up with that. And I want to thank everybody out there listening and watching here, both. It's been an incredible program. It's always nice to have Shondell in here. Your energy, your magic, it's just...
I look forward to this every morning. Like, Arlene's like, where you going? What's so exciting? I'm like, I gotta go. I got this. I'm loving this. I get to see my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You bring such energy to the thing, and you always leave Lisa and I in a great feeling super well. And with that being said, we want to close with how we like to traditionally close. There's a number of ways you can leave people.
Yeah.
Wanting more of you is one of the ways. But we say, at the end of the day, in closing this episode out, it's all about...
how you make them feel.
Exactly.
Yes. For real. For real.